fatjoe.com. On-demand marketing services for agencies and teams. Fat Joe.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Hannah, for the introduction. I'm Anna, I'm the MD of Quibble. I'm going to be talking about something that, I struggle with, and anybody that knows me knows that I struggle quite significantly with taking time off. But what I want to start today by saying, actually, those that take time off and take holiday tend to actually be, looking at statistics, 40% more productive. So actually taking that time off is going to be beneficial not to you and just your career, but also the company that you work for. So let's get to it. Good culture. So if we're going to build this culture of, people being comfortable asking and taking that time off, we need to know what good culture looks like. So first off, good culture is one that's supportive. It's one that is very fair, it's flexible. It's also one that, it's empowering as well. So it's one that's going to celebrate those little wins, not just the big stuff, which is, again, something that Alex mentioned earlier. But it's one that also treats us as adults. We are all human, we are all adults, so why shouldn't we have more say in how we work and obviously how we're kind of working with the other people in the business? And what's bad culture? So bad culture is one that micromanages, and I've been in a company before where I've been micromanaged, and it is not a nice experience. It's not fun. I actually felt guilty asking to take time off to go to the doctors because I felt as though people were looking down on me to go to the doctors, and I would also have to work that time back as well, it's not a good way to behave. It's also one that encourages overworking. Again, I've had this experience when I've been told, stay till 8 o'clock, make sure that work's done, and we'll order you pizza, because that's okay, apparently. But it's also one that, we have a clicking issue. There we go. Values the stuff. And I hearken to the guy with the ping pongs. Again, I've been there where I've worked in an agency that had the ping pong table. Amazing. Is it? How often are you actually going to get to work on that? It's also one that had a massage chair. So if you did a good job, you get to have that massage. It's like, do I really value that? Or would I prefer to actually get training or to get some kind of recognition for a good job done? Today we're going to be focusing specifically on the overworking because that comes hand in hand with obviously taking time off. And there's a bit of an unpopular opinion, and when looking at the research behind this, and obviously since COVID, a lot of us are working more remotely, but actually remote working isn't actually that good for us because people that are working remotely are working about 10 to 11 hours extra every week. So that time that you're would normally have that chill time in the car, on the commute, or even in your lunchtime, because your office is probably your bedroom, or you may have an extra office. You're actually doing a lot more work than probably what you should be, and you're overworking, not recharging those batteries. And then we also have those with unlimited holiday. Again, it's often seen as a benefit, but is it actually? Those with unlimited holidays tend to take a lot less holiday than those people that have their holiday days allocated to them. So it's not really a benefit. It's literally enough to make you scream. It gives you this anxiety because people, especially those with unlimited holiday, think, well, I don't want to be seen to be taking the mick. What is enough holiday? So when I actually started Quibble a few years ago, I started growing the team, I did fall into that overworking kind of side of things. I, as my team will know, probably took in the first year a day, if that, of holiday every year, which is awful. And as we grew, they actually had the confidence to say to me, Anna, take some damn holiday. You need it. You need to recharge your batteries if you're going to help grow this business and obviously keep our job secure and everything else. It works hand in hand. And again, we should have that relationship with people that, we are comfortable telling, managers off and vice versa because we are all human. So let's treat each other like such. But yeah, we grew. I started aging and getting a bit older, and that clock was ticking. And my husband wanted to start a family. And I was like, well, I can't do that. That means I've got to take time off, right? So no, we can't deal with that. And I'm very career-driven. I want to grow the business. But anyway, he started saying, well, you know, let's maybe start trying. I thought, okay, yeah, that's fine. It can take people years, no worries. And anyway, as you can imagine, we got the test. The positive test, not the positive COVID one, but the positive pregnancy one. And oh my God, I literally broke down in tears because I'd kind of put it at the back of my head. It wasn't something that I'd thought about that would actually come true. And if you spoke to anybody in my life, friends, family, everybody would have said, no, she's happy with cats. She doesn't need, you know, a family. She's not going to start a family. She's the one that's going to get old. She's going to have a house full of cats and be happy. So yeah, it was just one of those things. And I was just like, my life is going to change. I'm not going to just have time just to work and focus on the business. It's going to be this. And I was not looking forward to it. It wasn't something that, you know, was a goal in my life. And then along with just that fear, I had to think, well, okay, well, I've got to think, well, my money, what am I going to do about that? If I have time off, I'm not going to be growing the business. I'm going to have less money coming in. There's also nursery fees, which can cost the earth. The baby needs stuff. So, you know, it's not going to live on air and water, so I've got to buy a load of stuff. Then your body's going to change. And for me, like, it was just it was a lot. So you've got all that time to process all of that. What's trying to carry on working, thinking, I've got to take time off here. How the hell am I going to do it? And that was just me thinking as, you know, a female, what I'm going to be doing right now. And then I thought, well, maybe we could like share this responsibility, do some shared, you know, maternity leave, paternity leave. And I started looking at paternity leave and paternity pay as well. And even if you want to do the shared parental leave, which, you know, is possible, most people don't take it. Only 4% of eligible people take it. But it's really rubbish. Like, the pay is really crap. And it was apparent to me when so one of our guys was going off on paternity leave. I spoke to the accountant and was like, okay, well, you know, what is the pay like? This was before I knew these figures. So what is the pay like? Like, what do I do? What's the process of getting all that set up? They told me what it was, and I said, nah, I'm not paying him that. That's ridiculous. We should be better than that. It's 2 weeks, for Christ's sake. Like, no. Yeah, he'd actually recently started with us as well. He'd moved, so I knew that he was in a new property, so that he's going to have loads of other financial issues. So we paid him in full. To me, that was fair. Luckily, it also fell on our Christmas break, where we have 2 weeks off, all paid, don't have to take extra holiday, you have that time to go and recharge. So he actually had a whole month, so that was pretty good for him. But yeah, so it got me thinking anyway. I thought, okay, well, how do other people do it? How do other people navigate this? Like, there's got to be other companies that are doing stuff like this. But anyway, I asked and I said, okay, well, you know, what are people doing? And I found that actually a lot of dads, and even other people within a couple, they're not taking that time off. And in fact, a lot of cases, they're actually taking their holiday, which I don't get. If you're taking the holiday, yes, I can understand the financial side if you don't have a company where they've got the extra benefits. But if you're taking that time off now, you're not going to be able to take it off later on. So why are we not having these conversations with, you know, our managers, with the bosses, and saying, look, is there something else that we can do? Is there an alternative? Because, yeah, again, we're British and, you know, we don't tend to like these awkward conversations about money. But why not? I think let's start doing it. And yeah, it's awful. I would scream from the rooftops if it was me. So yeah, I think there's definitely some conversation that needs to be had. So how do we get people over the fear of taking this time off and actually trying to find some kind of solution to navigate around this? And I think it's important first to lead by example, which is exactly what I'm doing here today, is I'm telling my story and sharing my experiences. And I think that's key. If we don't talk about this stuff, nothing is going to change. So lead by example. Tell people about your fears, your anxieties, or any kind of concerns, and not just the other people on your team, but as I say, managers and all the way up. And again, vice versa, all the way down. And take control. So for me, when I was taking time off, I don't know why, I got it in my head. I thought, well, if I tell my clients that I'm having time off, they're going to leave. Or I'm not going to have a business. People will think I'm incapable because I'm a mum, I'll have mum brain and all of that. And so what I did is, at the end of the month, and we'd done all the reporting and planning, and I was sending the email reports, and I just tagged something at the bottom, and I said, by the way, in a few months' time, I'm going to be going off. Obviously, nobody knew because only people had seen me kind of from the top upwards because we had been obviously doing Zoom calls and stuff. So no one had been seeing my growing belly. So they were all quite shocked. But actually, I got lots of really good feedback and people saying, oh my God, congratulations, that's amazing news. And being quite supportive, actually. And by doing that, I was able to communicate with them and say, do you know what, this is my plan. So I'm going to have so many months off. I'm going to start the return to work on this particular date, and I'll be working full-time from this date. And these are the people that you need to speak to in the meantime. So I took control of that situation, which was really, really important for my kind of anxiety at that point of life and time. And I think it's important as well to get cover, but also provide training. And I think no matter, you know, what position you are in, if you can have some control of that. Again, I say control, I'm a control freak. Anybody that knows me, I'm a control freak. So I would want to make sure I know the person that's going to be kind of manning the fort or taking on the role that I would normally do. So, you know, get that involvement so you don't have any anxiety. You don't think, oh my God, they're going to take my job. So, yeah, and provide that training. It's very important. And no one likes to do it. It's really boring. It's one of the things that you try and put off. But writing processes down is actually quite important. I hate to say it, but it's going to help people, you know, when they're trying to follow something. So you're supporting your team actually by doing this, and they're going to actually appreciate you for it. So when you return to work, you know, they're not going to be like, oh my God, you left me in the lurch. So write them down. Do it over time. So if you know that you're going to have time off and you can plan for it, start doing it now. Obviously, yes, there's also time that you can't plan for it, but you could even voice note it, for example. You know, if someone's stuck, just voice note it. People don't tend to like voice notes, but you could, yeah, it's a solution. And share passwords. Again, as I say, I'm a control freak. I'm one of those people, I kind of hide things out of the way, and it's not always a good thing. But there are ways around this. So you'll all, I would imagine, have heard of LastPass. There's also something called KeePass, which is what we use. So it's just another tool. I know, yeah, there have been issues with LastPass in the past. But yeah, so another good alternative is KeePass. It's one that people don't tend to have heard of or use, but it is a very good tool. And for me, it was really important to go through the what-if scenarios, like, what if all of my clients left tomorrow? What would I do? I need to make sure that the company and everybody else is going to be financially stable. So if you go through all the worst, I mean, that's never going to happen. It's not. But you've kind of gone through that and you're like, okay, cool. You can breathe a sigh of relief. You're prepared for it anyway. So it's all good. It's all onwards and upwards. And that's what I always say. What is the worst that can happen? Yes, it's Dr. Pepper. It's also something that I've adopted, and I just say to everybody, what is the worst that can happen? Plan for that, and the rest you're plain sailing. And communicate. Communication is key. So I mentioned before, you know, tell people about any anxieties or any concerns that you have, but also tell them the good stuff. You know, it's not all the negative and saying, oh my God, I'm so scared about this, but what about the good stuff that you're experiencing? The unusual stuff, the funny stuff, because there are embarrassing stories out there that actually can put a smile on someone's face and they've probably experienced the same. So share, communicate. And remember, what's the worst that can happen? The pros are always going to outweigh the cons. So not only are you going to have less stress, you are going to have better health. You are going to feel more motivated. And you're going to feel more satisfied in your job as well if you've had that time to recharge those batteries. And plus, I think it gives you a renewed sense of what it is that you want in life. You know, even if you just have a long weekend off, you can come back and think, actually, oh, that was a good idea. I want to do this. Or you might think there's another idea that you want to kind of find if it's going to be a viable thing to do and achieve. So you can learn more. And you can also as well get a better work-life balance. If you're at work all the time, you know, we spend so much time there. You want to have a decent life as well. So I think enjoying work and enjoying life is so important. So make sure that you are focusing on, you know, having that time off so that you can do that. And so you can enjoy what you do a lot more. and it's going to lead to better relationships. You know, I know if I'm super, super stressed, I can be quite short with people. People know how I am. I can come across as quite abrupt and bossy. But at the same time, they know, you know, that's me. I just need to leave her, let her have a break, and have some damn time off. And to those of you that, if there's people in the audience, like so last year I was here, I was 5 months pregnant, and yeah, to me, I say, it wasn't something that was on my radar. Even then I thought, oh, I'll have a baby, I'll go back to work after 2 weeks, be fine. Do not think that that's going to happen, it won't. But it is so rewarding. So of course I've got to give some baby spam. Do you know what, since having her, I have never laughed or smiled so much. And I think if I have found that so rewarding, if we can encourage people, if this is a goal in their life, support them, because they're going to come back to work, they're going to have that renewed sense of drive. It definitely drives me. I want her to have a better life. So it definitely drives me to be a better person and do better at work. I know. But eventually I had to go back to work. It is my business. I am the face of the business. I do love what I do. I had to think, okay, well, how do I do this? I've had this time off, and I had 3 full months off, and then started the return to work, started full-time in January after having her in August. And I was full of anxiety. I thought, whoa, you know, it's only 3 months, and other people have longer, but I feel like I've been out of the business for ages. I mean, you know, when you return to work, even after the weekend, your inbox is just full. A lot of it could be spam, but still it's full, and you have to filter through it, and there's time that takes. But it's the conversations that have been had without you. You don't know necessarily what's been going on. So it's anxiety-inducing. So how do you return to work get over that anxiety? Because there's other people that are also feeling the same. So there's 98% of mums and people that have had time off to have a family actually want to return to work. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there that realise that a lot of people don't go back to work. And only 13% of those people that have time off for a family actually think it's viable to go back full time. So we've got to communicate what's holding people back from going to work, because there's obviously something that's worrying them. And it might be a bit of mum guilt. Maybe they don't want to. But out of that 98%, as I say, 13% think it's viable. They want to return to work. So where's the issue? What's holding people back? So communicate. When you go back to work, what do you need to help support you? What do you is there something like you are going to be going through so many different emotions? So communicate that and think, okay, well, what are your needs? Some people, they might still be pumping. They might need a room for that. Rather than, you hear horror stories of people, having to go into a dark room, or they might have to go to the toilet, and they're pumping food. We shouldn't be doing that. That's awful. So let's get over that as well. But we've got to talk about it. If we don't talk about it, then people don't just know this stuff. And I think as well, plan for childcare. So if you've had time off to have a family, so something that we did a dummy run. I returned to work and I was like, okay, she's at nursery. So I think it's about half an hour, but obviously you don't know because of traffic. And nurseries, if you are late, they can charge. Some will charge by every 5 minutes, some might charge every 10 minutes, but there's going to be additional costs if you're late. So do a bit of a dummy run and say, is it possible? Could I finish a little bit early just to see how long it's actually going to take me? And share your experiences, the good and the bad. As I said, I have never laughed and smiled so much, literally. I rang her this morning and I got the morning wake-up smiles, and it lights you up. It's so amazing. And get that training. If you've had time off, as I say, there's been a lot that's happened, even in just 3 months. I don't know necessarily if the goals of my clients have changed. I don't know if there's different things that have been going on in the team. The digital world changes massively and so quick. So it's important that you get that refresher, because otherwise you find that imposter syndrome can kick in. I know it did for me. I was returning to work, to my own business, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I doing this? Do I know anything about digital marketing? Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Of course you do. But it's all these kind of thoughts that creep in. So get that training, make sure you're caught up, communicate, tell people, and they'll tell you, no, come on, you've been silly. You do know your stuff. And be realistic. So, as I say, I started back full-time in January, and I said yes to everything. I say, yes, I will do that talk. Yes, I will do that webinar. And yes, I will do this. And I will go here. And I will do everything that you know, I thought everything was an opportunity, which, yeah, there was a lot out there. But then I started to feel the burnout. And it was real. And I would say even just a couple of weeks ago, I was probably about ready for a mental break. I was really, really struggling. Even my guys will know that they could tell there was a shift with me and I wasn't quite right. And so after this, and you can all hold me accountable, I'm having some time off. It's necessary. I'm going to be kinder to myself. But I'm also going to set goals as well. So something I think, at that point, I was saying yes. But I hadn't really set any goals for me. So something that I'm trying to do and be, you know, just me holding myself accountable is, yeah, have those goals for 5 years' time, even a year's time, but set little goals as well. So even if it's just achieving or getting 3 things ticked off your list today, you know, pick those 3 important things, the rest, sod it doesn't matter. So make sure you just pick those kind of little goals, because if you achieve them, you're going to feel like you're actually getting somewhere. You're not going to feel as overwhelmed. And that goes whether you're returning to work, I'd say, for having a child, or even after you've had maybe some holiday, or if you've been off sick as well. So you've got to be kinder to yourself, and you've got to embrace that new perspective, because there's other people that are also going to be affected by you not having that time off and then obviously getting up to speed. So you've got to make sure that you are communicating everything, that you are accepting, that you are not necessarily going to be up to speed, and that you're probably going to want to learn something new as well. And invest in self-care. So when I'm going off, I'm going to a spa. On my own, but you know what, I would happily just sit in a corner, read a book, and I'll be happy. Just having some downtime, a bit of a breakaway is needed. And that, for me, is what I would need. But everybody's needs are obviously different. You might want to, you know, go away to a cottage somewhere. You might just want to go to the gym. I find the gym very therapeutic, because you're kind of counting out your different sets and things. So again, that might be another way for you to kind of recoup and invest in that self-care. And always remember, what is the worst that can happen if you take time off? Remember, you're going to be 40% more productive when you come back. You're going to have a better life. You're going to have less strife. There we go.
Need link building or content? Go to fatjoe.com. On-demand marketing services for agencies and teams. Fat Joe.